In the unfathomable silence of space, your screams vanish into nothingness. But here, within the cold, metallic confines of an alien prison cell, they echo endlessly, a stark reminder of my predicament. My name is David Armstrong, a sergeant in the United Earth Forces, and currently an unwilling occupant of this grim, otherworldly cell. The room is a perfect cube, its walls adorned with cryptic symbols that seem to dance in the dim light, casting long, distorted shadows. I sit on the hard floor, my back against the cold steel, contemplating my next move. This isn't where I imagined I'd be when I enlisted. Raised in the dilapidated outskirts of old London, the military was a beacon of hope, an escape from the destitution and despair of my childhood. Yet here I am, light years away from home, caught in the grip of an intergalactic wear. My captor, Commander Zorax, is a formidable figure. His towering presence is accentuated by his deep blue skin and eyes that glow like embers in a dying fire. His voice, when he speaks, rumbles like thunder, and his laughter, cruel and mocking, haunts the corridors of this alien stronghold. I remember the day he first came to my cell. His towering frame filled the doorway, his laughter echoing off the walls as he ridiculed Earth's attempts to resist their onslaught. "Fragile humans," he sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. "So easily shattered, so quick to fall." But his words, meant to break me, only steeled my resolve. Humans are resilient, adaptable, unyielding. We may bend, but we don't break easily. During my imprisonment, I've been watching and learning. Every aspect of their technology, every word of their language, every nuance of their behavior has been a lesson. Each encounter with Zorax, each patrol by the guards, has provided invaluable insights. He thinks I'm defeated, but he couldn't be more wrong. I've been planning, biding my time for the right moment to strike. The alien guards have a routine, and I've committed it to memory. Their rounds, their habits, their weaknesses, all catalogued meticulously in my mind. Among them is one who seems different, the one with a limp. His eyes occasionally betray a hint of sympathy, a fleeting glimpse of compassion. Perhaps he could be an ally, or at least a less formidable obstacle. As I strategize my next move, memories of my past life on Earth flood my mind. Growing up on those mean streets taught me more about survival than any military training could. My mother, a nurse who worked tirelessly to keep us afloat, always believed in me. "David, you're meant for greater things," she'd say, her tired eyes brimming with hope. Her words, once a source of inspiration, now serve as a fuel for my determination. A clang at the door jolts me from my reverie. The time for Zorax's daily taunting ritual has arrived. I rise to my feet, standing tall, a defiant smirk playing on my lips. He may think he's broken me, but I'm far from defeated. In this game of survival, the underestimated often hold the advantage. It's a lesson I learned on the streets of London, and one I'm about to teach Commander Zorax. Because, in the harsh expanse of the galaxy, as on the streets back home, it's not just about how hard you can hit, but about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. The door opens and Zorax steps in, his usual sneer plastered across his face. "Ready for another day, human?" he mocks. I meet his gaze, unflinching, my resolve unwavering. This may be his domain, but I'm not just another helpless captive. I am David Armstrong, a soldier of Earth, and I will not go down without a fight. As Zorax begins his routine tirade, I listen intently, not just to his words, but to the subtle inflections in his voice, the slight shifts in his body language. Every detail is a potential key to my escape, a possible crack in the armor of my captor. I've always been good at reading people, a skill honed on the unpredictable streets of my youth. And now, it's more valuable than ever. Zorax's overconfidence is his weakness, his arrogance a blind spot. He sees me as a defeated enemy, a broken spirit. But he's gravely mistaken. Beneath this facade of compliance, my mind is racing, piecing together a plan from every scrap of knowledge I've gathered. As he turns to leave, his laughter still echoing in the cell, I sit down again, my eyes fixed on the door. The time for action is drawing near. I can feel it in my bones, a simmering energy, a burning desire for freedom and vengeance. I close my eyes, taking a deep breath. The stakes are high and the risks are immense. But I have nothing left to lose and everything to gain. This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about striking a blow for humanity, for showing these aliens that we are not to be underestimated, that our spirit is unbreakable. And when the moment comes, I'll be ready. Ready to turn the tables on Commander Zorax, to turn his laughter into regret. Because in the end, it's not the laughter of your enemies that defines you, but how you rise above it. In the ensuing days, my cell transformed from a cage to a classroom. Every interaction with my captors, every mechanical whir and electronic beep was a lesson. I wasn't just David Armstrong, prisoner. I was David Armstrong, the student of an alien culture, intricately plotting his escape. Commander Zorax's visits became more frequent, his arrogance ballooning with each sneer. But his overconfidence was my advantage. I noted every detail, the way he spoke, the technology he used, the layout of the prison, storing each piece in the puzzle of my escape. One crucial element was the biometric scanner outside my cell. I observed its operation, noting a slight delay in its locking mechanism. It was a minor flaw, but in the art of escape, minor flaws were gaping opportunities. Then there was Tharks, the guard with a limp, whose eyes held a story of their own. Unlike the others, there was a hint of empathy, a touch of reluctance in his demeanor. Through brief conversations, I learned about his family, his uncertainty about the war. He wasn't a friend, but he wasn't a fervent enemy either. In the grand chessboard of my escape, Tharks was a piece yet to be moved, potentially pivotal. The plan, simple in its essence but complex in its execution, revolved around exploiting the scanner's delay during the guard's shift change. Once out, I would navigate the labyrinthine corridors to the communications room. There, I would send a distress signal to Earth's forces. It was audacious, perilous, and the only shot I had. Nights were spent in mental rehearsals, visualizing each step, each turn in the corridors, every potential obstacle. My past life, from the streets of London to military training, had been a crucible forging skills I now relied upon, skills that were about to be tested to their limits. The chosen day arrived with my heart in my throat. The guard's routine check found me feigning sleep. Tharks's glance lingered, a silent exchange passing between us. He left, the door hissing shut. It was time. Counting the seconds, I sprang into action at the precise moment. My hand pressed against the scanner, exploiting the delay. The door slid open, and I slipped out into the corridor, a shadow among shadows. The prison's bowels were a maze of dimly lit corridors, the hum of alien technology a constant companion. I moved with purpose, every sense heightened, every lesson learned in my captivity guiding me. Reaching the communication room was a dance of stealth and speed. The door, secured by an advanced lock, yielded to techniques born on Earth's streets. Inside, alien consoles blinked in the semi-darkness, a symphony of lights and sounds. I approached the main console, my hands moving over unfamiliar controls with a mix of intuition and remembered observations. As I worked, the console's alien language started making sense, a puzzle coming together under desperate fingers. The signal was almost ready to send when an alarm shattered the silence. They had discovered my absence. Heart pounding, I continued. The console beeped its compliance, and with a final push, the distress signal was sent. I stood back, a fleeting moment of triumph quickly overshadowed by the sound of approaching footsteps. The door burst open, guards flooding in with weapons drawn. I was outnumbered, outgunned, but not defeated. The message was sent. That was all that mattered. I was roughly escorted back to my cell, the guards gripped tighter, their faces a mask of frustration. Zorax awaited, his usual sneer replaced with a scowl. "Clever attempt, human," he growled, "but futile. Your people won't come for you. You are alone." His words were meant to wound, but as our eyes met, I saw it, a flicker of doubt, a shadow of fear. He knew, as I did, that humans are relentless. We don't yield, we endure, we fight back. In the solitude of my cell, thoughts of my mother surfaced. Her unwavering faith in me, her belief that I was destined for something greater, filled me with a sense of purpose. I might not have achieved greatness in the way she imagined, but in that moment, I had stood against tyranny. I had fought for something beyond myself, for humanity. As I sat there, the weight of my actions sinking in, I realized this was more than a fight for survival. It was a testament to the human spirit, to our unbreakable will. We might be outmatched, outgunned, but we're never out of the fight. The distress signal was a beacon in the dark, a call to my people across the stars. Whether they received it, whether they could come for me, was unknown. But hope, like the human spirit, is resilient. It endures, even in the darkest of cells, under the watchful eyes of a fearsome enemy. As the hours passed, I lay there not in defeat, but in anticipation. My actions had set something in motion, a ripple across the cosmos. And in the grand scheme of things, a single ripple can precede a tidal wave. Zorax might have had the upper hand, but the game was far from over. In the echoing corridors of an alien prison, a human soldier had defied the odds, had stood up to his captors. And in the endless dance of war and survival sometimes, that's all it takes. In the aftermath of my failed escape attempt, the mood in the prison shifted. The guards were more vigilant, their patrols more frequent. Commander Zorax's visits ceased, replaced by a cold, unsettling silence. Yet, within that silence, hope flickered. My message had been sent. Now, all I could do was wait. Days blurred into nights, the monotonous routine of my captivity only broken by the occasional distant rumble of what I assumed were spacecraft. I wondered if my signal had been received, if my efforts had been in vain. The uncertainty was a gnawing presence in my mind, an uninvited companion in my solitary cell. Then, one night, the prison was shaken by a series of distant explosions. The ground trembled, the walls vibrated. I rose to my feet, heart racing. This was no ordinary event. Something was happening. The sounds of chaos grew closer. Shouts, the unmistakable discharge of blaster fire, the clanging of alarms. My pulse quickened. Could it be? Had the Earth forces received my message? Were they here to rescue me? The door to my cell burst open, revealing a scene of controlled chaos. Earth Forces soldiers, clad in battle armor, were engaged in a fierce firefight with the alien guards. The air was thick with the smell of ozone and burning metal. "Lieutenant Armstrong," a voice called out. I turned to see Captain Elena Martinez, a familiar face from my unit, her eyes fierce behind her visor. "We got your signal. We're here to get you out." Relief flooded through me, a tide of emotions I struggled to contain. I nodded, stepping into the fray. The training and instincts honed over years kicked in. Side by side with my rescuers, we fought our way through the corridors, a symphony of blaster fire and determination. As we moved, I relayed everything I knew about the prison layout, the guard rotations, the weaknesses I had observed. Every piece of information was a weapon in our arsenal, every detail a step closer to freedom. The path to the extraction point was a labyrinth of danger. We encountered pockets of resistance, alien guards fighting with a ferocity born of desperation. But we were undeterred. We were soldiers of Earth, fighting not just for survival, but for humanity. As we neared the extraction point, a final obstacle stood in our way. Commander Zorax himself, flanked by his elite guards. His eyes blazed with fury, his voice thundering with rage. "You will not leave this place alive, human scum." The ensuing battle was a maelstrom of violence. Zorax was a formidable opponent, his strength and skill honed by years of combat. But he was not invincible. Amidst the chaos, I spotted an opening, a brief moment when his guard was down. With every ounce of strength, I lunged forward, tackling Zorax to the ground. We struggled, our combat a clash of wills as much as strength. But in the end, it was humanity's unyielding spirit that prevailed. With a final effort, I disarmed Zorax, his weapon clattering to the floor. The battle around us ceased, the alien guards surrendering as their commander was defeated. Panting, I stood over Zorax, my fellow soldiers rallying around me. In that moment, I was more than just a soldier. I was a symbol of Earth's resilience, of our refusal to be conquered. We made our way to the extraction point where a shuttle awaited. As we ascended into the stars, I looked back at the alien prison, a now distant speck in the vastness of space. It had been my cage, my crucible, and now it was part of my past. The journey back to Earth was a time of reflection. I thought of my mother, of her unwavering belief in me. I thought of my fellow soldiers, of the sacrifices made in the name of freedom. And I thought of what lay ahead, a future uncertain, but filled with the promise of hope. As we entered Earth's orbit, a sense of awe filled me. Our planet, a blue jewel against the backdrop of space, was a reminder of what we fought for. Home, humanity, a future. The war was far from over, but we had struck a significant blow against our enemies. We had shown them the strength of the human spirit, the power of resilience. My story, a tale of captivity and escape, of defiance in the face of overwhelming odds, was just one among many. But it was a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. We were a species that faced adversity with courage, that rose from the ashes of defeat with a renewed determination. As the shuttle touched down, I stepped onto Earth's soil, a free man once more. The battle scars I bore were not just marks of survival, but of triumph. In the echoes of my valor, in the tales of my struggle, the message was clear. Humanity would never yield, never falter. We would stand, united and unbreakable, against whatever challenges the cosmos threw our way. For in the heart of every human soldier, in the soul of every Earth citizen, burned an unquenchable fire, the fire of hope, of perseverance, of an unwavering determination to endure, to overcome, to prevail. And as long as that fire burned, humanity would always have the last laugh.